This podcast right here is just for entertainment purposes. I am not a medical doctor, not a nutritionist, or a personal trainer. I am barely fucking qualified to operate a toaster. As Ruth Langmore so wisely said, I don't know shit about fuck, so don't trust me, don't listen to me. We're here just for shits and giggles. And if you trust me with health advice, then that's just natural selection at work. Don't do drugs, always listen to your GP. And with that disclaimer out of the way, let's get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the OptiCast with me, Nathan.
And me, Aubrey.
Where we are discussing everybody's favorite topic, cardio. Yay, it's so much fun. And we can definitely talk a lot about cardio. Aubrey especially, she can tell you everything about her experience with cardio. How much cardio do you do every week, babe?
I try to take steps. That's the extent of my cardio right now.
Mm-hmm.
I did more cardio during my cuts.
How much cardio do you do?
I did HIIT twice a week.
Twice?
Once a week. I was also walking the dog a lot during my last cut.
So walking again, back to the walking.
Lots of walking.
Yep.
That's right. About it.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I've seen you try to sprint. It's not very good. Just gonna say that. So I'm glad you.
It's been a while. It's been a while since he tried to see me sprint.
Yeah, but the question is, why don't you do cardio?
Because I am busy as shit.
That's pretty much
I don't have time.
Yep. So while I believe that pretty much everyone should be doing cardio, pretty much there applies that some people is just not beneficial for them to be doing cardiovascular activity at this point in time. There's a couple of things that will stimulate heart rate going up for someone who's not doing cardio, right? So one of the things you can do is you can implement high reps into their training session. That's going to bring their heart rate up by a lot. You can also implement some exercises that require movement, for instance, like farmer's carries or walking lunges, things like that, because those tend to, alongside with like just supersets and stuff like that, you can actually stimulate a little bit. So like I was watching this podcast with Martin Fitzwater, and he was talking that in his last prep, he only did cardio twice, like literally twice.
Oh
but it wasn't moving the needle. So they were like, why don't we just fucking give you another couple sets of legs? And we used that to just burn calories. And that's what they did. And it worked. So there are some other options there for cardio. About things you can do and stuff. For myself, cardiovascular, like previously on the previous push phase, I was doing HIIT cardio after every single upper day. And then I was doing about 18,000 steps a day. So quite a lot of steps.
Yeah.
But it beat me up a lot. Like my shins were hurting, my knees were hurting, my hips were hurting. And it was starting to bother me during lifting as well. And then on the HIIT side of things, it would just bury me, man. It would just make me so fucking tired that I would just finish a workout and my brain would just not work anymore. So it's just kind of like not super easy to maintain. Now for a fat loss phase, like, yeah, sure, we'll have something in. But for this push phase, I actually opted to not do cardio. I opted to not do cardio so I have more energy when I am, at the gym. And I can have a lot of my mental focus still applied to me when I am working. And I don't have to, sort of like switch gears so often that I'm like, just getting so freaking tired with cardio and all this stuff. So I opted to not do it. And now that I'm about, closer to the end of the push phase, I'm starting to feel like I probably want cardio back in again.
Why?
So because I've just been like my breathing, I can tell it's a little bit more challenging. It is like 35 more pounds. So like understandable, but at the same time, it's, like if I'm doing something that requires cardiovascular work, sometimes gets very tiring, very fatiguing, makes me very fucking tired. But like I feel like I felt it the most when I was taking my dog for a walk, and I looked at my heart rate because I'm just coming up the little hill by our street, and I look at my heart rate and it was like 140, and I'm like, what the fuck? That is not good. So, I'm just asking a couple of people like, hey, what do you think about my options for cardio and things like that? Because I love running. I love running, but it beats me up so much that I really can't do it.
Yeah. I hate running.
I love running. It's really nice. I don't get the runner's high, but I like the whole like just staying in pain for so long.
I do the dancing. Like if our gym had like the group classes with like the dancing, I don't know, some kind of like dancing thing, I'd do that.
Horrendous. But
it would be horrendous, but it would be more fun than running.
No, So if I could choose, I would run, but I can't really run. So my other options are a HIIT, which again buries me too much. And there's another argument for me not doing a HIIT, so we'll go there. But also, I thought about doing a bike, but I get such a massive pump that I can't bend my legs. Like my knees don't bend anymore. Y'all don't understand what this is like. But I'm literally pedaling with my glutes. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Yeah, because my quads don't fucking work anymore. So plus biking on a static bike is perhaps the worst experience ever for a person, right? Like apart from some actual terrible experiences, that's the worst one. And then I thought about doing Stairmaster, but fuck climbing stairs for an hour, because who the fuck wants that? Plus lights up your quads, and I want to save my quads for fucking training days. And I'll fucking kick you again. You too. And I thought about doing elliptical. So elliptical is my last option here, which is the one that I think about doing. Which the main argument against doing an elliptical is that you look fucking stupid when you're doing it. It's just unbelievable how stupid you look. Oh, you're just floaty walking. That shouldn't be a thing. Ellipticals suck, and everybody who walks on ellipticals,
baby, all cardio looks dumb.
Running does not look dumb. Running looks dope. Running, like sprinting.
Have you watched people?
Sprinting?
Okay, when you're driving down the street and you see people running,
no, people run like their bodies are falling apart. They just run like this, or they do the grandma ones, or the people with the walking sticks. And what the fuck is with people with walking sticks in the U.S., man? I freaking hate that thing so much. Why do people act like they're climbing the fucking Appalachian Mountains when they're just walking downtown? I don't understand. And why is it always old people?
They're training.
Training for what?
For the hike.
On pavement? I figured if you went on a hike, it would be better than walking on pavement with a stick.
Well, maybe they don't want to walk with their cane, so they're just using that as a substitute.
And why do they always set it up so high, man? It's so high. They're always setting up like up here, and they're doing like this. It's never low key. It's never just you minding your own business on a walk. It's always you like, look, I have 2 sticks. Do you see my stick? Move over, you stickless walker. Yeah, so fuck the people that walk with the sticks, man. And it's just a U.S. thing. I've never seen this in any of the other 2 other countries that I've been to in my entire life. So, yeah, but I've never seen anything online, and I've seen things online about this stuff. It's, anyways, so.
Well,
yeah.
I don't do that. I do jump rope. Well, when I was doing the HIIT cycle, I was doing like 6 minutes of all out as hard as I could. And I would do jump rope, and then I would do battle ropes.
Yep.
And then I would do static bike. And then I would do the same thing again.
That's the nice thing about HIIT, though. It's like, even though it buries you, 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes of that versus 30 minutes on an elliptical. Like 10 minutes on the elliptical. I'll do 10 minutes on the elliptical. But probably not. I'll probably skip, man.
All out on the elliptical.
I heard a story of this guy that was prepping for a show, and his coach went to his gym, and he was supposed to be doing cardio at that time, and he skipped cardio. He left through the back door and climbed out the window to fucking get out so his coach wouldn't see that he was skipping cardio. Jeez, one of the craziest stories that I've ever heard. Well, not really. I've heard some bad story, so what we can do is, funny story.
You know, what'd be fun is on the elliptical, I'll stand on one side, you stand on the other, and then we just do this.
Yep.
That's what we used to do when we were kids.
Yep. So why don't I think that doing HIIT cardio is something that I want to do? So when I went to Brazil last time, I did a bunch of hard tests, and one of the things that I found out is that I was just on TRT for about 2 months, so it was a good baseline, right? I had already lost a good amount of weight and everything. And I did the test, and basically showed that for someone who is doing all the stuff that I'm doing, like apart from, the stuff, I was on the bottom end of what's acceptable. So it was basically
for your heart health.
Yeah, for my heart health. So I was basically sedentary, okay. But I was not sedentary. I was doing cardio 4 or 5 times a week, man. It just goes to show how much like strain it puts in your body. But in any case, so one of the tests that I did was a max effort with for analyzing that, and then the other test that I did was with this like applied strength thing that measures like how your heart moves and stuff. It's just like an imaging of your heart. Like you can catch things before an MRI. I need to remember what the name is because I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like a long ass fucking name. But in any case, one of the things that we saw is that there is a little bit potentially of left ventricular hypertrophy, which left ventricular hypertrophy is a side effect of using high dose anabolics for a really long period of time. However, it is also something that is entirely normal for someone who is an athlete. So like it's a problem when one of the sides of your heart is bigger than the other. But when they all grow together, then it's not a problem. So when you look at both sides, both ventriculars, what you basically find is that I am in the upper range of what the normal is for both sides. So it's not really a concern. It's not like something that I should worry about or anything like that. But it just gives me like, okay, so I'm already like here. So if I were to not take care of my health at all, then this would be a problem. The thing is that HIIT cardio can actually stimulate left ventricular hypertrophy more than other types of cardio, just because of the not pressure, but the strain that it puts on your heart and the fact that you're raising your heart rates up very, very fast. Another thing that could be problematic is just artificially raising your heart rate, like with the use of stimulants and things like that. And stimulants are like methamphetamines and things like that. They're actually the worst thing for the heart, even then, like comparing with anabolic androgenic steroids. So like fat burners would be much worse than anabolic androgenic steroids, which is why it's so good that nowadays, if you have money, you can use a bunch of fat burners that do not stimulate your heart at all, which is really cool, but it does require more money. So I haven't really settled on what I'm going to do with cardio. I'm thinking that a couple times a week, I'm going to do elliptical for 20 minutes. And then a couple times a week, I'm just going to have to do HIIT because it's fast. So I don't love it, especially because I need to drive from the gym here because at my gym, the bikes turn off if you don't pedal within 30 seconds. So if I'm going to do bike and then battle rope, which also the battle ropes are the thickest possible because why not? So I want to just donate my own. But when I am doing the bike and then I leave to go to the battle ropes, I come back and that bitch is turned off. And then I need to wait like 30 seconds until it turns on and the whole system, software updates and all that bullshit that I don't want. It's there. So can't really go for it there. So I need to drive. Like it takes me 30 minutes to get home. And then 30 minutes after my workout, I'll do cardio. It's such a bitch. But I don't think there's any good option here.
Could you do it not as like don't consider it part of your workout? Just add it as like a break from something else, or do it first thing before going to the gym?
Doing cardio before going to the gym?
Yeah.
No, that's going to beat up my training capacity so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, whatever you do first in your workout is what is prioritized. So I don't want to prioritize cardio. Yeah. Which we'll talk a little bit about that. But in general, like you want to have cardio as far away from training as possible. So if you were to, in the ideal world, if you were to do cardio first thing in the morning and then train in the afternoon, evening, that would be an ideal scenario. We have 8 hours in between these two sessions. That's really, really solid. But it doesn't really work for the majority of people. But anyways, enough talking about us. First question. What is it?
First question. Why does my effort level for heart rate change sometimes? For instance, some days...
Because your heart beats different.
For instance, some days I can be in zone 2 while running at 5 miles per hour, but sometimes it takes me running at 5.5 miles per hour to be in the same heart rate zone.
So, shit changes. That's the easiest way to explain. There's a certain degree of variability that's not problematic. And whenever the adaptations occur so that running becomes easier, in other words, that your heart rate is lower at the same amount, at the same speed, that adaptation doesn't happen like, oh, you bumped up, now you stay up. Then you bump up, then you stay up. Then you bump up and you stay up. No, it goes like this. right? So you have periods that it will fluctuate down, and then periods that it will fluctuate up, and that goes from the largest chunk that we can think of over the course of like the whole mesocycle all the way down to the day itself. So like there's going to be variation within all of those things. So that's the first thing, and I would caution against trying to be so meticulous about the data and stuff like that. I think that you have people on Instagram like Alec Blenis showing that like the over concern with like zones and all of this type of stuff, which by the way, we should try to get him in the podcast because he likes to talk about religion and philosophy as well.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's just overblown. And it's not really applicable for the majority of people. So that's what I would say. Just embrace the variability and the uncertainty and just try to match, like just try to have one variable that you can maintain, like the speed or the effort or, you know, your heart rate or something like that. I personally go for heart rate. I just, if the objective is, you know, like raise my heart rate up to this point, that's what I'm going to do. It becomes a little bit more challenging whenever you get into a fat loss phase. Then you have stimulants because now your heart rate is artificially accelerated. So you can't really correlate the heart rate zones anymore. So there's a calculation that I have that, you know, can possibly help with this, but it's not like science. It's more of a speculation thing. So, but in any case, yeah, good question.
Sweet. How does cardio work? Can you run twice as fast or for half the time and have the same effect?
So I am not going to be the qualified person to say how does cardio work. That's like that's a massive question. That's to me is like asking like how does the sun work? I'm like I have no fucking clue. It just burns and it feels really good on my skin as long as I'm not too close. Kind of like my cat. Like you're chill, but just stay kind of away. So yeah. What was the question again?
How does cardio work? Can you run twice as fast for half the time?
No, you can't really run twice. It doesn't work that way. Now, there is a rate of equivalence between certain things, right? So, like, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I also have some ratios there for like the relation between like 1,000 steps, how many calories, and the equivalent of that if I were to remove 1,000 steps. What is that for cardio? Like, okay, we have to add 5 minutes of cardio for 1,000 steps. This is just like I'm pulling the numbers out of my ass, but I do actually have those numbers. I just don't remember them off the top of my head because sometimes like people can't do more steps, but they were doing them. So now life changed. So you got to replace it with cardio, and sometimes you know it's all these things, and they can change. And that's one of the reasons why I tell people that your steps are not optional; they're part of your caloric requirement. If each 1,000 steps is about 60 calories, then you know fluctuating 120 to 240 calories in a day, it's quite a lot. It's a decent amount. That's like half of a deficit or of a starter deficit, or you know like the difference between you accumulating more fat or not. So yeah, it's pretty important to actually follow it as part of the program itself. Yeah.
Okay. What's the best split between cardio and lifting? I know I can separate upper body, but in order to give legs the proper effort and respect, I can hit legs and run later, or more preferably run and then fuel up and hit legs later. How do you gauge recovery or days off in between so it's a 6-day workout week with 5 running and 4 days lifting?
Yeah, so this is a hard question.
Very specific.
The person who asked this was like transitioning from doing mostly lifting to doing mostly running. So his situation was different because we basically started working within his running program, which is different than the training program that he had. So in his particular case, we basically worked something out. But I would say for the majority of people, like the best split between cardio and lifting is to have cardio as far away from the training as possible. And ideally, you would separate that by 8 hours at least in 2 meals, or 1 meal and a shake or something like that, and have something early in the morning so that you can get benefit out of like enhanced fat loss and things like that, and then have your training later in the day when you're properly fueled for all the stuff. But it doesn't work for the majority of people. Another option, second best option, would be train first thing in the morning and then do cardio later in the day. That's the option that like could work for some people, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's just that you don't get fat loss from being fasted. And then the which is like, oh, it's not a thing if you're natural and stuff like that. Yeah, but if you took yohimbine, then it already matters. So like, let's act like it does, because it probably does matter. Then the next option would be to have something like your lifting days today. Tomorrow is a cardio day. Then it's a lifting day. Then it's a cardio day. And it's an off day. That would be perfect. But it does put very little focus, because you can't really develop a good running like program with 2 days running a week. And though you can develop a sustainable training program for twice a week, if you want to make actual progress, you're going to be pushing like 4 or 5 times a week. So what is the best of both worlds here is like, if you're someone who's just trying to be balanced, I would say 2 days at the gym lifting, 2 days at the gym running, or doing cardio of some sort. That would be properly balanced. And now, if that's not possible, or if you have to maintain like high priority of lifting like us, we don't want the cardio sessions to exceed the number of lifting sessions that we have in a week. So if you have 4 times a week training, I don't want you doing 5 sessions of cardio a week. Now, what I would want is perhaps having some sort of cardio done after your training. So, you finish your training, you go do some HIIT, or you go take some steps, or you go to the Stairmaster or something like that. That seems to be the less like possible, like good option here. The least optional, the least good one, the least optimal one would be to actually just do like running and training in the same day. That wouldn't be very good. That would be the worst possible scenario. But if you're going for like a hybrid competition or an event or something like that, like, then you actually have to do both in a day. So welcome.
Hi there.
Are you joining us?
Where are you gonna sit?
You joining us?
Oh, she's
right in the middle.
Gonna go in the middle.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what we do, right?
Good girl.
Yes. Good girl.
You want to say something? Oh, you're drooling. That's nice. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
She gets her steps in every day.
Talk about mobility before shooting. I actually had to write a part of this question because the whole question was mobility before shooting. Just that. So
mobility before shooting,
mobility
like before you
shooting.
go to shoot, or before you started shooting?
Like before a match.
Okay.
Both are the same thing. Literally just did the same thing twice.
No, what I was thinking was, what was your mobility like before you started shooting?
Oh no! Fuck! What the fuck?
I don't know.
No. That wasn't it. So this, like, it's not something that is necessary, right? But it's context dependent. So if you are someone that just feels like you're a little bit too stiff, and like that you can get a wider range of motion if you do a little bit of stretching, then gross. Then our dog has been doing some gross things with her tongue, so I am just trying to like keep myself from like falling for her cuteness.
Yeah,
right?
It's
right,
nice.
Right, Gorda. You fat.
You're pretty disgusting.
You're fat. You're fat.
You're being cute.
Yes, you're being cute. What is your cardio regimen? Do you think people should stretch before shooting? No, it's not necessary.
Look at this.
But if they like it, if they feel good, then they can do it. Then they can totally do it.
You get your steps in?
Don't worry about it, guys. It's just shooting. Shooting is fun, and you don't need to stretch. Now, if it feels good, if you feel like you have more range of motion, if you can transition the gun better and stuff while you're shooting, if you stretched, then stretch. Very good dog. Very smart dog.
I would say warm up your leg, like some of your joints,
warming
like your
up
ankles
is good.
and your knees.
Warming up is smart. No. Silly dog. You goose. Can you see this?
You're so cute. The belly?
I'm trying to have a podcast here. This is very serious business. And you're here just acting like we don't got bills to pay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right, next question.
If running is too risky for injury, how should you train for tests like pacer tests for work? Neck exercise recommendations? Yeah,
so for the first part of that question, which is the two separate questions.
Okay.
So what you should do is to actually introduce running gradually. When he talks about the high risk of injury, it's like, well, if you are overweight, your cardiovascular system is not prepared for it. So that's one. But two, even if it was, your lower body is not prepared for it. So just imagine that you're just watching us and you're like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. Just add 60 extra pounds on you. Just get a couple of plate carriers, carry them around. See how that goes. Just imagine you running with that, like the effect of that on your shins is just too much. That's how you get stress fractures. So that's what we mean there. But it's not that running is like inherently dangerous or something like that. It's just that high impact sports, you have a higher risk of injury. Not risk, it's just higher probability. So what the system that we basically use is that you allow your body to adapt to the current volume, and then we raise the volume by a manageable amount of about 10% or less. We know from studies that 10% is a point of like where 10% is already a pretty good bump that we can see injuries. So that's why we maintain for a little bit of time before. So let's say that we are doing, like when I reintroduced running, I reintroduced it as 5 minutes once a week, then 10 minutes once a week after 3 weeks. Then after 2 weeks, it was like 15 minutes once a week. And then it started 15 minutes plus 5 minutes. So now 2 times a week. And just so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. The only reason I stopped is because I needed to buy running shoes, and I didn't really buy running shoes, so that's why. But yeah, it's if you want to basically keep yourself from being at higher injury risk, gradually raise the volume. But remember that is volume. That is training volume. What you're doing, like lifting, is volume, but what you're doing outside of the gym while you're running and stuff, it's also volume. So you need to recover from that. Recommendations for neck exercises?
We'll skip it.
Why?
Because we can do, unless it's cardio related, because we can do a episode about exercises for like a very specific aesthetic things.
Oh God!
Like not everyone is doing.
We could do that, but I'm gonna answer it anyways. I neck exercises. You see what this dog is doing? Like
just do that.
Just do that, because that's how we get to create a strong neck, so that your neck game is strong.
Okay, that's acceptable. All right. What are smart options to prep to fuel match days? I ended up underfeeding. I prefer to feel light as opposed to overeating in the morning.
Yeah. So one thing that I like to do is, if you are able, fast during the match. That's good. But if it becomes a problem that you can't figure out what to eat later in the day to supply your calories, then what you can do is to have your, just split your calories throughout the day and just eat like normal, right? So how would you do that? You have a decent breakfast. Something that I suggest is oats and eggs, because you get the fiber and you get fat. So it slows down your digestion by a significant amount. So it can just basically give you more time without being hunger and just supplying those omega for your brain and stuff while you're shooting. Then what I would like to do, and put blueberries on the oats. Definitely put blueberries on the oats, because it's great for your eyes and vision speed. So during the match, you have about 2 meals that you're going to have to eat. Just look at the amount of calories that there is in that, and then just get like foods that are easy to eat within those calories. So there could be protein bars, it could be beef jerky. Beef jerky is not so easy to digest, but anyways, beef jerky, it could be Rice Krispie treats, it could be rice cakes, it could be dried fruit, it could be nuts. It just all depends on what your macros are, but just having something that you can eat like that is pretty smart. Now, note is that if you are in a shooting environment and you are drinking and eating, you will be consuming fucking lead. So eating something that does not require you to do your lead-filled hands to eat is pretty smart. That said, I am not the smartest guy. So when I go to matches, I eat rice and chicken, just a full-ass meal, just me eating there and just being super bloated. It's not the best thing for a performance, but I have to make some sacrifices because I have way too many calories to eat. I can't just get to the end of the day and be like, oh my gosh, I need 400 grams of chicken in one meal. That is the worst feeling.
We packed straight sourdough one time because we needed carbs.
Yeah.
So we did find when we were at like a long match, several days, we were able to find a lot of snacks that were high in protein and perhaps fat as well, but not high carb.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get carbs in.
Which is so strange. So like Rice Krispie treats, and then we ended up just buying sourdough and just eating
sourdough.
Plain sourdough.
We had some like, it was like mac and cheese or something, like some microwave. No, it was rice, microwaved instant jasmine rice. Super good because it's 420 calories per like packet. And it's like 100 grams of carbs. So you put 2 of those bags in and you got 1,000 calories. You got 200 grams of carbs. Like that is a legit amount of food. And you buy some of that pre-cooked chicken.
Yeah, it was Tyson grilled chicken strips.
Yep. That were shit pre-cooked. Is good. All you need is just some sourdough, and now you have a full-ass meal, and you can get a lot of carbs. So we basically ended up eating most of the carbs later in the day. So that's that worked out pretty well. But yeah, just focus on having something that's easy to digest during the match, and something that is, it's going to keep you full enough that you can focus, but not so full that it's impairing your ability to move very quickly and to process information. Like that anyone that has tried keto will tell you that keto is the absolute best for mental focus. It's just, especially with fasting, it just works absolutely great for that. The problem is that, in shooting and in, sports, you need carbohydrates. So you can't really afford to go in ketosis. But what you can do is to choose carbohydrate sources that work well with your body. So I'm not someone that notices a lot of like crashes and things like that with this. And, some people actually go hypoglycemic by having a lot of carbs. So it depends on how you react to the food. So knowing how you react to the food, or getting a coach that can help you figure out what are some foods that might work for you based on your previous experience, that would be my recommendation here.
Okay. Pause for the whatever.
She's okay. What's the rapid fire? First question of the rapid fire. I can't believe she's fucking texting right now.
No, I'm trying to find it closed.
Wow. Unbelievable. Okay.
I've got it. I've got it right here. Okay. Right here. How do I stop hating cardio?
I mean, if you figure out, let us know. Yeah, no. Let us know, because I'm also interested. I've never got the runner's high. I never got that shit of like just feeling so good. No, actually, sometimes when I was running a lot and I would get so exhausted, just come home and just crash. That feels really good. And it feels, dare I say, better than actually lifting on some days. Because when you lift a lot, you're just like doing a bunch of heavy shit. You're just fucking tired, man. You're just beat up, but it doesn't necessarily feel like, oh, this feels so good, No, I never feel like that anyway. So if you figure out, let us know.
I would say that you could put on like something that you like to watch.
Put like some show that you want to start associating with something that you hate, and then watch that show while you're running. So you used to like that show, now you hate it.
Okay. Why does cardio feel harder on some days for no reason?
Yeah, like I said, variability. It's a bitch. It's just there's no reason. I just took a rest day, and I went to the gym today, and it was impossible to lift anything at the gym today. So some days it just feels like that, and you just gotta do the work, I would say on the previous question also, if you do something long enough, you generally start to enjoy it as you become better at it. So become good at the thing, and then that seems to be better. That's a better answer, but I have to troll a little bit too.
Is it better to run alone or with music, podcasts, no audio?
Man, if you run with no music, no nothing, you're a psychopath, and I don't trust you, because
if you do anything in your life with no music,
that's a degree of like pain that I don't think I have experienced. That's a degree of trauma that I don't think my therapist is allowed to actually deal with. I would have to go somewhere else. I'm not there. I haven't had a breakup that hurt that bad. There's nothing in my life that hurt as bad that made me go on runs with nothing on. Now, that being said, I went on runs with nothing on multiple times, but I'm just tired of listening to stuff. But in any case, it sounds funny.
Yeah, I feel like my brain would start playing a song while I'm running, and it would be playing in my head, even if I wasn't listening to anything, because like running to the beat of something.
Yeah.
How do I stay patient when running progress feels slow?
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of, if your running progress is slow, there's probably something with your program. because unless you're very, very advanced, but I find that people program their stuff very poorly. They just follow random shit that they find on the internet. The running thing is so weird because lifting, everybody just assumes they know what they're doing. So they just do whatever. But then with running, they just find whatever program on YouTube or on the internet and then just do that program because they heard like so many people saying that it works. Don't get me wrong, like those things can work, but it doesn't take into account like your own, like what's your injury risk, like what's works well for your body. Like there's no one analyzing your data, and the trackers that we have, like the wearables, don't generally do a very good job at that as well. Like Garmin always thinks that I'm like overtraining and that I need to take a rest day every single day. I went on a bike trip in Germany, and every single day it thought that I was gonna die. So every day is just like warning me, like, stop doing any activity, stop, for the love of God. But yeah, it was fun.
American made.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Should I track heart rate zones or pace more closely?
You can do both, as a matter of fact. You can do heart rate zones, you can do pace, you can do your like heart rate itself, you can do your speed. There's lots of options here. There's not just one thing that you have to do. What I would say is pick one and then go by that. I like heart rate more because it tends to correlate to whatever you're doing as well, whereas pace is a little bit more unforgiving. Like you just have to hit that pace. It's kind of like a logbook at the gym where you just have to make sure you get those reps, no matter how you're fucking feeling, man. No one gives a shit. You just have to do it. Like that's a level of serious that's like usually beyond the scope of what, you know, a bodybuilding or lifting or fitness focused, you know, we would have on a podcast like this. You know, is just not very much the focus here. But yeah, I would say pick heart rate zone because that's a little bit easier for you to like know what you're doing, tempo, threshold, you know, like endurance and stuff like that. So base training, sorry.
Is walking enough for conditioning during a growth phase?
It can be for some people, it can be, but I find that it's mainly for large individuals, not for people like me and you. Like we're not big. So I find that for those people, it can work. For people like us, I like legitimately trying to find a way to get cardio in is a good idea. It really is. But steps can work. It's just the problem is like you're going to be detrained when you go into a cut, and now you're going to have the fatigue of the cardio plus of the deficit plus of the training. So there's all these three things when you could just be fatigued from two. Well, 1.5 because the running actually makes you less fatigued in your training. So like in my mind, it makes sense to have cardio in before so that when you start a prep or a fat loss phase, you're not immediately so exhausted, you know? So
I actually remember feeling like I needed to move more when I was in my cut. And I don't know if that was because of stimulants.
Yeah, you were on clenbuterol, so it does that a little bit.
That might have been it.
Yeah.
But it felt good to move in a sense.
Yeah. There are some peptides that make it good for you to like feel like when you're doing this stuff.
Nice. Is it normal to feel like strength dips slightly during heavy cardio weeks?
Yeah, because you only have like so much that you can recover from, and if you're focusing most of your energy in running, then you're not going to have most of your energy in lifting. So that's how you can think about it. You can think in terms of you know, you have you know, a full glass with like 16 ounces of water. That's all you have for the day. And you say like, well, is it normal for me to have less water to drink at the end of the day if I drink most of it in the beginning of the day? Yeah, it's normal because you drank most of the beginning of the day. So like if you do more in the morning or if you do more in the evening or if you spread it evenly, that's all going to have one effect on the other. But what you can't do is just imagine that you can take 80% from the morning and then also want 80% in the evening. That's not possible. That's how you end up injured. So we have to choose what our priority is, and there's no number like more than one priority because it's one number one. Otherwise, it would be 11. You know, so yeah, that's how you can think about it. Yeah. But in any case, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for this episode. Next week, we're going to have another good one for you guys with Sora hopefully answering a few of the questions again. Because she's so wise and so smart and so beautiful and so good.
Perfect.
And such a good dog. And I am excited to eat dinner. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Peace out.